My water's all up in the thing.
Don't break it. How's your water?
Let's not talk about that because then I'm going to have to pee. My tits hurt, though.
You need a massage.
They need a massage.
Do you need a massage? All of us offered a massage.
Oh, God. They're so freaking huge.
We'll pie.
That's why all of us can do it.
Yeah. We'll just get a portion.
Oh, my goodness.
A portion.
Ready?
Wait, are we recording? Oh, okay.
One,
One,
two,
two, three.
three.
Hi.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of
Be uplifted.
Be Uplifted.
Apparently. We're not feeling it, guys.
Can you tell?
I'm feeling it. I'm ready.
Kidding. Just kidding. I'm ready. He's ready.
How do you guys like? I love our setup right now.
Me too.
It's so.
I like it.
It's so aesthetic.
It's so aesthetic.
I
It
feel
was cool because everything's on wheels and I didn't have to break anything down.
I feel so
nice.
alone in this corner. Like I'm not good enough to sit on the couch.
Do you want to trade?
No.
You have a
sit on
whole
my lap.
computer.
I do. I'm mastermind.
Exactly. He's masterminding over there. Don't let him
Yeah, masterminding.
make you think that we abuse him.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Only when he wants it. You know?
Little bit. Just a little bit.
See, like now that Queer Rich is a fake DJ, you're going to hear a lot of song references now.
I got asked that the other day.
And now that he's getting better, he's memorizing only the first verse of most songs.
Do you get to the point where like you listen to music and then you either count the beat or like you act like you're scratching or you're like, hey, you know what song would play good with this song?
No, I do that the last part, but I don't count. Like I know how people, I count more like with my head.
Yeah.
And how it, yeah, you know, a lot of people like they expect it to like, you know, 1, 2.
Oh, no.
3,
I
4,
go
2,
like this,
3,
too.
3, 4, 4. You know,
Yeah.
I don't. I just like. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good now though. Like I can actually just like get the beat and then hit the button. It used to be like sit there like for an hour for like a good
Yeah.
minute, just sitting there like trying to catch the
I'll
beat.
see him doing this the whole song.
Because I'm trying to catch the beat.
And then he pauses, is like,
Now it's just like, you know, you get it once and it's like, okay,
yeah.
That's
I'm
tight.
good now.
Jason
Growth.
went to one gig with me and he's like, this is so cool, you DJing, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm going to teach you the difference between a bass and a snare. And he's like, listening to music now and stuff. I'm like, okay, what's the bass? And he's like, this one.
That's
This
cute.
one. And I'm like, which one's the snare? He's like, fuck, I can't catch it. I go, it's the, that part,
Yeah.
right? And he's like,
That's the snare. Did you hear that? That's the snare. This, that's the hi-hat.
Oh, that's right. Tuck,
Yeah.
tuck, do, tuck. 808. Do, tuck, do.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
I think that's what helped me out, like DJing, because I couldn't understand music
Yeah.
to an extent. So, like when I came in here with like my what was that?
The Newmark?
No. No, when it came out, I'm like, bro, like I was looking this up and this is what I do, like music wise, but I never put it into like,
Oh, yeah.
pattern.
Like something just clicked with you and you're like, I get it now.
yeah, like
I
you know,
remember
bars, beats, and phrases.
Yeah.
Like for me, that was just natural. Like, you know, you the feeling of going from, you know, bar to bar and then
Yeah.
the phrase, like that was just naturally to me. Like when I'm playing guitar, I know that I'm going too long. So now I have to do the change, you know, or the drop or whatever. And yeah, so when I finally saw it in Serato, I was like looking, I was like, oh, I get it now. And it slowed down enough that I can see like where it's headed to. So I don't necessarily have to be so stressed out about, you know, waiting for the next chorus. You know, the color change. I'm like, oh, that's where the chorus is gonna be. So
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah.
good job.
I know.
I just have to learn the song. I don't fucking look at the color waves.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything.
Yeah, you'll get to a point where you like I told you with song structure, you're just gonna be like, oh, it's gonna come up soon. And then
Yeah.
if you realize that he didn't finish telling his story,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, there's gonna be another.
Well, no, but the hard part is that, you know, like I play a lot, you know, for the audience, I play a lot of freestyle, and those are fucking super long. Sometimes you're like, God
Freestyle's
damn,
long, yeah,
when am I
for
gonna get to
sure.
the second verse?
Oh yeah.
You're like, Jesus Christ. Or when do I get to the first verse?
Right.
Yeah.
That or like it's
The
cool
long-ass
because
intros.
you don't need a DJ intro because it already has a fucking intro.
Oh yeah, it takes like fucking forever.
Yeah. But sometimes I take that opportunity to just talk to chat. Like, what's up, chat? Like, you know.
Yeah, so if you're not following Kuya on Twitch, make sure you follow him on Twitch.
Yeah.
And
He streams
Jane's
like
over
every
here
night.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I wake up, I'm like, why the fuck y'all streaming at 5 o'clock in the morning?
That's Vince.
Yeah.
You know what's fucked up is sometimes I be going to bed like, oh man, they're starting. Like yesterday, I went to bed when you started your stream.
Did I stream yesterday?
No, you didn't stream yesterday.
In the morning? Was it in the morning?
No.
5?
There was one that like I streamed and then like
It doesn't matter, but yeah,
yeah.
you get the point.
It's a lot different from weddings
Yeah. What?
because they never go. Oh no! Trying to segue into the damn topic.
I was literally gonna ask.
yeah.
So about that topic, guys. Okay, so go ahead and tell them what we're talking about.
Don't remember, but it had something to do with marriage. Oh,
Ring.
ring it or fling it.
Ring it or fling it. Okay, so how do we differentiate, or you males, or however we want to like translate this question, know the difference between a woman worthy of ringing it and a woman worthy of just being a fling?
They always start as a fling.
Yeah.
And end episode again. Like, fuck.
There we fucking go, guys.
No, I mean it's growing the relationship, right? It's not said like buying a relationship. It's growing one.
Yeah.
You always say this phrase. It's like you don't fall into love, you grow into love.
Yeah, you never go into a relationship looking for love. You learn to love the one you found.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, it's. I'll admit that early on, like even with my first marriage, it was more or less like the dream of the marriage. So sometimes that clouds my that obviously clouded my
Like
judgment.
wanting the dream, like
Like getting there and like having a family and then going on trips and all that. It's almost like it's I would say trauma from my past because I grew up in a broken home. So
Yeah.
you're trying to build something that's not
you wish was there.
that I
Yeah.
wish was there, and
I
so
get that.
and so that's where. But eventually, you learn that you just gotta take your time. Like it almost felt like everybody I dated, I was like, oh, I'm gonna marry this girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's one of those things where it's like you dream of a family and then you just imagine the one that you're with at the time to fill that cast member or whatever.
Right, yeah, right.
You know? But then there's going to be a point where you find that special someone that makes you think of that story.
Yeah,
And that's the difference to me because like I can imagine having, you know, my house, my dog, you know, like 2 babies, you know, car in the garage and stuff, and then like I get infatuated with a girl and think, "Oh, I could have this with her." But then I can also on the other side, on the flip side, the one that you ring, that's the one where you see your life with her. And then it's because of her you imagine the rest of the stuff.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even now, like I'm scared of it. Like,
Yeah.
like you guys remember that really popular Van Halen song? How do I know if it's love?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that's speaking of songs.
See, I called it.
No, but I mean, it's like it's always in my head. Like, how do you know? Like, what? I've never felt that, or I don't think I've ever have.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Where
Well, I think it's also kind of scary for people like all of us on this panel have had very, very serious relationships that then failed, right? So it's even harder for us because we already thought that was the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we already thought like this is it. So for
But-
that to fail, it's almost like, well, how do you know then?
But
You
at
know?
that time, were you feeling were you feeling a story with that person, or were you making a story with that person?
I made up a story in my head.
Yeah, definitely that.
So you
think
guys filled the gap.
subconsciously you feel like what you were saying. It's
Yeah.
almost like a cast member being filled in this story that you want in your head.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's kind of crazy when you think about it that way.
it is though, when you're sitting there and you're like, I want to get married, but in the back of your mind, you know that she might not necessarily be the one, but you're like convincing yourself that she is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you guys about that because I've always been curious about like the gentleman's perspective. So you're with a girl, right? But you kind of know in the back of your head she's not the one. Why do some men stick around? Is it like just for the sex, just for the comfort? Like, what is like a male's perspective of why like you continue to be with a woman that you know deep in your soul is not necessarily the one?
Sometimes it's mostly convenience.
Okay, that's a good answer.
So I'll be honest with you, like if she checks enough boxes to be with her, but not to stay with her, I'll look at it as, well, I mean,
Tolerate it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's tough sledding too. Like for guys, like you don't know what it took to get that girl. You know, like the tough sledding for guys. I mean, because we don't. I think when we were having the discussion earlier. I mean, girls own the sex. You rule the sex.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We have the final say.
You have the final say in whether it happens or not.
Right.
Right. So for us, it's like again. You're like, I already got here. Now, if I move on, you're like, fuck. That's another uphill battle.
Because it's another person you have to try to find. And
Exactly.
Because
that's
it's
so
like
sad.
Yeah,
like,
well-
from a guy's perspective, I never really thought about that.
Well, think of this too, right? Like I used the analogy before, or this example before. I'm 1 out of 5 guys that are trying to get with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one girl that I'm probably talking to. If I have the confidence, maybe 1 out of 2.
Yeah.
But see, the problem therein lies that if I decide that I don't want to be with you anymore, I have to start all over. Mm-hmm. If you decide you don't want to be with me anymore, you still have those other 4
options,
guys. Yeah.
You slide right into there.
Yeah. The guys that we were told not to worry about, the guy that you complained to me about. The guy that you complain to about me that says, "Oh, I would never do that."
Oh, that sucks. Why would you do that? Like,
Well, and then there's those situations too that they've just been together for so long. It's like, well, fuck, like
They don't even know how to function without each other.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. It's almost like a codependency.
yeah. But again, it's still at the end, starting over again. It's that's where it's like, man, we got to start all over again.
that's the scary part.
Yeah, in every relationship, it's like, oh man, I gotta fucking do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, we have to start all over from level 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5, whereas you guys pick up from level 4.
Yeah, I never really thought about that way. I think women are so quick, including myself. I'm very guilty of that too. And it's nice to hear like you guys' perspectives or the guy's perspective, because all I think about is like, oh man, poor women, because all we run into is a bunch of assholes in the dating field, But
Look at
But I don't even get to run into a bunch of assholes.
yeah,
You know what I'm
see, I
saying?
didn't
Like,
even think about it that way.
Well-
where there's like the nice guys that don't even get the chance. You know?
look at it like this. Like tonight, if I wanted to, I have 5 girls that I could call for sex.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference, right? Wait. Here's the difference. All 5 of them will probably say no. But if you have 5 guys that you can call for sex, all of them will probably say yes.
Let's test it. I'm just kidding.
Let's do it.
Pick one. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Oh man, that'd get all of us in trouble.
well,
I know.
for me, there's 0 girls I can call right now for sex.
Oh, I could call hella girls. They'll just all say no. That's the thing. But I'm good at being turned down. I'm batting 1,000 on that.
Stop.
Because your history with Ackright, how did you know for you it was worth the ring than just a fling? Because you guys just started off as friends with Benny.
The way he kisses. Are you looking at me or Ari?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
I
had a
see the way you look
flashback,
at Ackright sometimes, so I can definitely see why. But
Right.
yeah,
He starts to flutter. I see it all the
yeah,
time.
I see how Vince just like, it's the way he scratches, like.
The way he scratches. without context, it sounds so wrong.
If you know, you know.
Right. What was the question again? How did I kind of like know?
Yeah.
Well,
Because you're the one that's married out of all of us. So how did you differentiate if it was worth? It was worth getting married than just keeping it a fling?
I think ours was like a really special case because our exes were so similar, so we bonded on that quote unquote trauma. So, you know, like I understood her crazy, he understood his crazy, and we knew we didn't want anything serious at the time when we started hooking up because it was like, listen, I'm still living with my man, you're still living with your girl, but they're fucking psycho, and like we're not with them, but they're just here because they won't leave, you know? Yeah. So, excuse me. So we kind of just like started fucking around or whatever, but then like I knew because it was one of those things where like we started supporting each other in like bigger moves, you know, like fighting for child custody. Yeah. And then there was a time where I actually cut him off for like 3 months because I was like, I'm going to give it my all with my baby daddy, you know, and he was still the person that popped into my head like every single day. So it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I obviously can't picture my days without him. So he must be like, I felt safe with him, you know, so that was the difference.
Yeah. So all that trauma, you guys kind of built a foundation together, like a bond, like a team, like teamwork, basically.
Right. But I will say this, because I've talked about it openly on here, is like it was also our trauma is what bonded us, but it's also what came and bit us in the ass later. Like, oh shit, we just bonded on the trauma, but we never healed from the trauma. So all those same behaviors started popping back up on each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's like the ups and downs of like working through with someone that's been through some fucked up shit.
But that's common too, because I've heard before that nothing brings two people together like the hatred for somebody else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just very true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That sucks.
And then it made it hard because I processed the trauma a certain way, right? As a female, he processed the trauma a certain way as a male. So I couldn't understand why he didn't like take the same lessons or whatever out of it, you know. It's like you fucking went through it like I did. But being on this podcast and learning more about like the gentleman's point of view, I'm like, oh, he's not being an asshole. He literally just doesn't see it the way that I see it, you know. And we have to work through that all the time too. So it's like one of those things where I think you know that it's a ring situation if you're willing to put in that work. You know what I mean? Because it's not easy.
Right. Having me and Rich on the podcast, has that helped you understand Act Right more?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Like
you're welcome.
No.
Yeah.
But it also helps
if he actually watched this, do you think that it'll help him understand you more?
No, we yeah, I threw that shit in his face the other day.
That's why he was in the chat.
You literally have the motherfucking cheat code. Watch the damn show, and you'll know half of the shit that I. He's like, I know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, ugh.
Well, he made an effort. He was in the chat.
No, he was. He did say that. He's like, you know what? I just need to fucking, I just need to make it happen. I should make it happen. You know, so I'm like, okay, whatever.
I almost told him that last night because he was like, yeah, I was going to drive, so I'll be home alone. I'm like, I'll see you in the chat.
Yeah, so that's why he was like, are you guys going to go? Let me know. I need to be in there. I was like, we're going in a minute. Like, calm down, you know? He was hyper aware of his failure.
Yeah. All right. So, fellas, if you need a cheat sheet to understand women,
right here. And women, if you need not necessarily a cheat sheet, but just a perspective that you can't see when you're blinded by your own emotions, you know? Because I know that Lonnie has said that too. Like, oh shit, you know, after Queer Rich or after Vince said that, it made me think, you know, like.
Yeah.
And okay, so vice versa, not to like change the subject. What about you guys? Did you guys have you learned anything of the women's perspective, or are you still kind of like, well, women are dumb?
That's what I learned.
Or have you?
No. No.
We didn't do our job. It's my time to walk out now.
I know, right? That part.
No. What's your question? So.
Well, you said that. Do you
that
think,
we're
like,
dumb?
You're stupid. You asked me if like I understand Act Right a little better now because of your guys' opinions, perspectives, etc. Do you understand the woman's kind of like way of thinking? Like, are you more empathetic or understanding of it now that you've heard me and Lonnie kind of like talk things out with you guys, or are you still like you're stupid and dumb?
No, I don't think that I've changed my empathy or like my emotion towards it. However, I understand the different perspective now. So I consciously consider that. It's just that most of the time I'm right anyways. So it's, yeah.
So it
So no,
No.
he didn't
But
learn.
but you know what? No. The one thing that I did learn is like I'm not going to, try to change them. Instead, I try to tell them, look, I understand how you are looking at things, and I respect your perspective, but and then I can usually convey it a little bit better for them to understand and try to get them to understand that we don't have to agree, or just because we disagree doesn't mean that one of us is wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can both be valid in your feelings. That's
Yeah.
true. Depending, she said.
Yeah, depending. Yeah.
She's like, no.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
What about you,
Oh,
Kuya?
me. It's. I almost sound really bad for saying this. No, it hasn't really changed, only because women's point of views and women's feelings is so openly broadcasted anywhere you go. Like, I mean, with you guys here, it's easier for me. I mean, there's no conflict, right? So,
Right.
so when I digest it, or when I get it, I can process
can
it.
receive
I
it.
can receive it a little better. But at the end of the day, the women's perspective is always so upfront. Like, you watch any talk show, from The View to Oprah to Jenny Jones or whatever, it's always been up there. So you kind of understand where women come from, and and how they feel.
Or more vocal.
Yeah, you're well, yeah.
Well,
you're,
we have the luxury to be more
Yeah.
vocal,
for men, for the longest time, like the 80s, 90s, and maybe the mid 2000s, men didn't really have that voice, or had the platform to have that voice.
It was almost like a pendulum swing, right? It was like the women had no power, and then they asked for it, and then they took all of it, and now they're complaining, and now like the men are fighting for some of it back.
The
It
clicking
feels-
ball.
Yeah.
Clicking balls.
The clicking balls.
I think it's just the understanding, and it's like, again, a lot of times people will discuss it and say that the guy's just trying to be like, chauvinistic or misogynistic, but in reality, we're just trying to like be men. We're just really like saying that, listen, the man is the head of the household. Like, the queen is not the ruler of the country unless the king dies.
Right.
Right. And that that might sound sexist, that might sound whatever, but at the end of the day, that's the role of the man to rule the house. But if he has no voice, then he's not ruling anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that men as a whole, I think that we've already, like, because we think so logically, we're up here as far as like understanding things. And you girls have made a big jump, but then you're still catching up to us, because whether we're on a podcast or not, we're speaking with logic. But like I said before, when you guys are with your homegirls and you're not talking to me and Rich, emotions can take over.
Yeah, but there's also such thing as emotional intelligence. This is what like psychologists have to study for years, So I feel like there's a lot of emotional intelligence that you guys have had to learn as a gender.
Yeah, and the emotional intelligence, as long as there's like an intelligence portion of it, as opposed to like I feel like, or Mercury Gatorade or some shit like
Right.
that, those fling it. The ones that are that there's a difference between getting the right answer and their answer being right. So a girl that wants her answer to be right isn't open to having a conversation, and that's a fling girl. One that is open to having an open conversation and seeing from both perspectives, and then reanalyzing her decisions, that's a ring girl.
But are you willing to analyze her emotions if she's willing to analyze the logic?
Yes, but it still doesn't play as big a factor as the logic.
Silence.
Well,
I think the difference for me is because, and not to say that it's like a better or worse thing, but just from my personal truth, my personal experience, that was one of the biggest things that Akrai had to overcome in therapy, right? Was like I can sit here and try to preach about emotional intelligence, validation, blah blah blah, but I'm not a therapist, so I can't really break it down with the science and all of that shit, right? But like I feel like that's kind of like the missing link here is like because you guys have not learned that, so you think you know everything about it, but you don't, which is why I feel like there's like kind of like that missing piece that we don't agree on, you know, whereas like Ackright, he's still fucking not emotional and, and like where he needs to be, but he understands like, wow, I fucking didn't realize there's a lot that I'm missing now that I've learned the science, the history, the behaviors behind it, you know, like, oh shit, I'm not as, the logic isn't as, it is important, but the emotional plays a very big part too, because it's part of the logic, you know, but it's hard to understand that if it's not explained to you by like a professional, you know.
But our logic supersedes the emotion. For example, okay, and I know that that's a fucked up thing to say, but hear me out. In the logical sense, we are, or the male gender role. Am I using the right word? We're providers and protectors, so we have to logically like pay the bills on time. You know, we have to make sure that everything is taken care of. You know, that's all logic. It's not one of those, oh, I feel like paying the bill on the next one. No, we logically do that shit.
Well, for a woman's perspective, if you want to put it in those terms, a woman pays the bills because of the feelings. Like, if you want to put it in feelings, like, because I want to be proud of the woman that I am. I want to know that I am caring for my family. So maybe she's not like the bills get paid because it's due on this date, but she is emotionally driven behind their decisions still, even though they're logical decisions. There's a very big emotion attached to it, you know?
Right.
I don't know. That's just how I feel, you know?
Yeah.
But for survival, logic is enough. For survival, emotions doesn't even come close. So that's why I say that that portion is more important.
It's hard to say because it sounds like we're competing of what's going to win, logic or emotion.
But I feel like they go very hand in hand.
Yes.
Yeah. That's just me, though.
Okay, so what logic traits do you have to determine whether it's considered she's worthy of having a ring?
Logic, okay, guys? Don't ring any girl. No point. End episode.
So tying it back, what logically speaking, like that, like why ring a girl? Why do not ring a girl? What's your perspective on marriage and like?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So one of the first things that we were talking about in the break room, I guess,
In the green room.
Yeah, most girls that I've seen recently, and this might just be because of the types of girls or the people that I hang around with, they want a wedding, they don't want a marriage. And then
What does that mean exactly to you?
they want to party with their friends and show off the fact that they got a ring. But they don't think about being the housewife or being, you know, the contributor to a home. Like how many girls think about, okay, when a guy proposes to a girl, how many of those girls think, oh, I can finally share a driveway with my husband?
But it's hard to think like that because growing up, for us females, like the whole princess idea, like the whole like that wasn't how we got brought up.
Yeah, I'm not blaming. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not blaming you for that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that's wrong.
But no, I definitely hear you.
Yeah.
Right? But it's hard to change, like for you to.
It's almost like shoved down our throat
Right.
in the female perspective too. Like you're not even woman enough unless you're a housewife and you're married and you're serving a man, and you know. So it's kind of like there's that double standard too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. I just so basically the thing that I'm getting at is that, like, girls just want the celebration, not the teamwork afterwards. When they're getting proposed to, when they say yes, they're saying yes to the wedding, not saying yes to the marriage. Because right when a guy proposes to a girl, she's thinking, oh, where are we gonna have it? What's my dress gonna be? What
Yeah.
you know, so on and so forth. They're only planning up to the wedding, but they're not thinking of all of the things afterwards, like where are we gonna live? You know, how are we going to split the bills? Am I going to, you know, become a stay-at-home mom? So on and so forth. So that's why I'm saying most girls, they only want the wedding.
Well, and then that's why I was saying to defend, like, not because for me, I agree. There's women out there that do think like that, but then it's hard to blame them because of how the picture, how they grew, the idea of how things were brought up to us females.
Yeah,
is
we
like,
were taught to have that dream wedding.
yeah.
And like
Haven't I mean I'm sure you guys have heard that. It's like, oh, I dreamt of this as a little girl of having this white beautiful ball gown dress, or
Right.
like because of those movies, those old princess movies of Cinderella with her big ball gown dress and he like courted her and whatever, or like, you know, that like fantasy of beauty of what it should look like, but really like
in
you
every
men
movie.
are, like you said, providers and protectors.
So if that's what you guys are brought up and trained, sorry for a lack of better words, but trained to envision as the end goal, because that's pretty much the end of every Disney movie, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What's the incentive for you to upkeep yourselves after the wedding? If you've already hit the end goal, you know what I'm saying? See, the ring it girl that I'm thinking of is the one that's thinking of having a kid and raising them, you know?
Yeah.
Like with guys, a lot of us we envision our future in a happy relationship is us playing catch with our son, you know, or helping our daughter with her homework or something like that. Wedding is not even like, that's not even in the picture of our end goal. And unless I can meet a girl that's mature enough to understand and build that vision for, there's no reason for you to get married.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. You know, like, it's hard to say only because too, like, after you get engaged, there's so many, speaking from experience, people come up to you and you're like, so when's the wedding? When's this? When's the wedding for that? What are you planning? Where are you planning on getting
It's a lot
married
of
at?
pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, you
Yeah.
know? And
I'm not saying you guys are
yeah.
wrong.
Oh, no, for
Yeah.
sure. Because I completely agree with you. The way how I perceive being married, yeah, of course I'm a wedding planner. I would want a wedding, but at the end of the day, like, I could use that money to get a house.
Exactly.
Right. So, it's hard. I'm only trying to like defend that other side, that the way that I'm sure Ari thinks the same way as I do, but
Yeah.
just to like
But see, this
fight
is-
for that, you know?
This is also another case of me saying you'd rather have your answer being right as opposed to the right answer.
No,
I don't
just
think
a different
I'm
perspective.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys have this perspective and are vocalizing it. But yeah, when it comes down to it, which one makes more sense? To have a girl that wants
I would want a
marriage?
successful marriage than a wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
But
for sure.
There's always going to be the mother-in-law or the sister or the best friend. Like, okay, when's your wedding? You know, like, when is it going to happen? What's the date? What are we going to do? What's your dress going to look like?
Yeah, it's just giving you guys a perspective of like the pressure, the hardship that we also have to go through because of, again, how we grew up with having this fantasy of what a wedding should, or what a marriage should be.
Because when you don't have that, people almost look like you're a failure. You
Right.
know, like, I didn't have a big wedding and I didn't have a reception. And, you know, when I'm in a circle of friends talking and they're all bragging about their fucking big weddings and they're like, oh, you didn't have one. Oh, why? You know, and they're like,
Yeah.
that doesn't feel good, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so I get that. I agree with you too, but I understand what Lonnie's saying, like the perspective of the pressure that comes when you don't live up to those expectations, which is why most women feel the need to.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of those girls are the ones that have a Louis Vuitton bag but also have a hand-me-down car from their parents.
Damn, I have neither.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and to have like my own opinion of my, like what you're saying is like, I don't, of course I would want a wedding. It's something beautiful. It's something that both of our families can be together.
I
Whatever,
actually
right?
do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have now in this situation that I'm in, I'm being that housewife but also working. I'm gonna raise our child and do all this stuff. So in the end, I'm like, yeah, I think I deserve a wedding. When he finally proposes. But it's just also like, at the end of the day, like if I had to choose between a wedding and a house, I want a house.
Yeah.
You know what I've also realized is we should let Rich pick the next topic.
Well, because I'm not saying anything.
You let me pick this topic.
No, because it does. A lot of this shit does not make sense. Like, okay, you meet a girl, right? And then you have a wonderful whatever. You guys have been dating for 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. Then you propose. Then all of a sudden she plans the wedding and she's no longer good enough.
What do you mean?
Is that what you're saying?
But that whole time, what you're saying is, but what you're missing is that whole time they're questioning her every year that passes.
No.
I'm
not talking about that. I'm talking to Vince specifically because he says the women would rather have the wedding than the marriage.
Oh, okay.
No,
right?
because
somebody has to plan a wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
But just because they now want to plan the wedding.
No, but that's all that, like that. After the proposal, they don't really think past the wedding.
Like what's the end goal?
But why
after
did you
the
propose
wedding?
then? You should know. You should know a girl
that's why
good enough to never propose to them if that's the case.
And that's why I was saying fling it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my conclusion. Fling it. Now, if a girl plans the future with you, then yes, celebrate it with a wedding. Ring it. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to clarify because it seemed as though like you were saying like, even if you guys were like good for like 7 years dating, then all of a sudden you're planning a wedding and now she's like all into the wedding. Fling it.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
No, that's what it sounded like.
Okay.
Listening.
No,
that's why I was sitting here going, this shit doesn't make sense. Like it's a celebration. So somebody has to plan it and you're the emotional type. So you'll never do it.
Well, I'm not the emotional type.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let her handle that shit.
Yeah.
And then after that, just rein that motherfucker back in. Oh man, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Just rein it in and say like rein that shit in and be like, okay, now we're done with that. We'll control the cost of the wedding. We'll do this. You could still control all that too. Mm-hmm. If you let her go, that's your fault. If you let her go and plan a wedding that's way beyond your means and now you guys are in debt and she now has to have a hand-me-down vehicle and a Louis Vuitton, that's your fault.
No, but I'm saying I'm not gonna let it get to that.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Though, if it gets to that point,
this is a first.
That's a man's fault.
Yeah,
that's a man's fault for not putting his foot down and say, hey, we don't need the fucking mariachi band for 6 hours during our wedding.
Exactly,
because we can't afford it.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Bitch is expensive.
That's what I'm just saying. Like so, like Vince is right. Like you get there and like most women love the celebration or the thought of the celebration, but men, you also have to be in there and be like, yeah, I get it. We're gonna celebrate, but yeah, I'm gonna be part of this fucking thing too because I'm not spending most of our income and and live in a 1-bedroom apartment somewhere.
Yeah, right. Men, learn how to put your foot down.
That's true. Yeah. That's actually a very good point because I feel like women do turn into bridezillas, right? And then men just fucking kind of like keel over and take it.
Well, the minute you propose to a girl, she's watching every fucking wedding movie.
Yeah,
like the wedding planner and all that. Next thing you know, you're we're flying to Spain for our wedding.
Hire me.
Yeah,
that's right here.
No, it's okay. So in today's generation or today's world now, right? Things are like backwards, right? People get a place together, have their own whatever, and the only thing left for them to do is get married. They already have a kid. They already have all that. What is a determining factor whether they're just going to stay just boyfriend and girlfriend, baby daddy, whatever the case is, or to be married?
Well, if you start a family, it's pretty much, you
might as well get married. Yeah.
I mean, but not like legally.
What do you think makes a man want to finally go, okay.
Yeah. That's basically my question.
I'm going to marry this girl now. Like, because I've seen that happen where guys are like, I've been with this girl for 10 years. Okay, let's get married now, Like, what do you think, from a male perspective, where does that shift come from?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I wouldn't be a good person to answer this because I have my own views that are not common.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, for me, like I feel as though it's still the pressure from the woman. Like again, you're gonna start over if you don't. Yeah, you're slowly gonna get pressured into it. 10 years, her friends are doing it. Every time you guys are together, each one of her friends that she's gone to high school with starts to get married. Blah blah blah.
So you don't think that it's ever just like the man having like he wants to like do it? It's
If you're with somebody and you're already like 10, 12 years in, marriage was never
an end. Oh, that's true. That's true.
That or outside pressures. I'm only saying that because I recently just did a wedding. They've been together for 14 years and they have a child together. And the only reason why they got married was because of outside pressures of family. The girl, the wife and the husband, they didn't care about getting married. They were okay with being separate. But the only reason why they decided to get married was because of family being like, well, y'all been together for so fucking long.
Yeah. See, this is my counter to that. I'm going to take my pre-fiancé, right? So before I propose to her, my pre-fiancé, I'm going to take her on cruises, vacations, blah, 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 this and that. And every time that Tito Boy or Auntie Ida asks, how come you guys don't get married, huh? She can show them pictures of the vacation that we took.
No, that's facts. Yeah.
I'll still hire you. You like,
can I DJ
the
your
homecoming?
wedding?
Yeah, you can plan it. You can DJ and you'll be a go-go dancer.
Wow. That's messed up. She can do the makeup.
It's fine.
Yeah.
That's all I'm good for. Just boobs.
Follow her on her
No,
new
ass
Instagram.
too.
Go lifted.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
That's funny that you say that too, because when I went to that Hawaii trip, everybody was so. That's why I did that. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I did that video where I was like pranking in a way that he was proposing, but he didn't propose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody kept on asking me like, "Oh, is it because he's gonna propose? Like, do you think he's gonna propose?" I'm like, "No, no."
You can do so much more with the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to Hawaii for my birthday. Like,
Yeah.
come on now.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I just think that the whole thing still scares me. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's if I meet somebody, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's almost trauma. Like, like, do you continue and maybe not go through with it, or do you I don't know, or you just end it right there to avoid.
Have you done that? If you're being
Yeah.
like where you know that you almost self-sabotaged because you were scared?
No, definitely self-sabotage, because you don't want to go through the same trauma. So
Okay.
so it's easier for me to just ghost somebody or say, hey, what's up? Or just kind of like slowly stop,
Yeah.
slowly.
You ghost them and you're just living together. It's like,
No, like, yeah. When you ghost them, or you slowly like, just,
Yeah.
I guess it's still ghosting, right? When you slowly like slow down.
Disengage, yeah.
Disengage.
Yeah.
It just, cause at that point, you're so unsure.
you're in the same bed with two different
Do you want to
blankets.
build a snowman?
Okay, bye.
Hey, can I throw out an idea that if it's a good idea, we should normalize it?
Oh no.
Go ahead.
These ones, the normalizing. one.
So why is fling it or ring it the only two options? What if we fling ring? As in the sense that back in the day when I was going to high school, we used to have these things called promise rings. Now, the government wasn't attached to this, but in order to show that my girl owned me, I wore a ring and she wore a ring.
Yeah.
What if we just did that?
People do that now. It's called couple rings.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Didn't we talk about this?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's crazy how different people look at it, because the symbolism is the same, right? Like
Yeah.
with the promise ring. So I was watching this reality show, right?
Future wife, I want a sling ring.
So I was watching this reality show, and this couple came, and the guy came to visit her work, and he was leaving town because he travels, right? And they were like, I love you so much. I'm going to miss you. I don't know how we're going to do this, da, 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 da. And he pulls out a ring, right? And everyone in the office, because she works in this office, they're all women. They're like, oh my God, is he proposing? Blah, blah. Fast forward to he leaves. They come over and they're like fucking bum rushing her. And they're like, oh my God, did he propose? Ah. And she's like, it's a promise ring. And they were like, oh. And then they all just like left and they didn't give a fuck anymore. Yeah. So it's like crazy.
But
'cause
that's-
it's like but it's
yeah.
like
It's the
he's
same
still
thing.
professing his love for her.
Yeah,
So it was
exactly.
weird. I was like, oh, that's fucked up. Like, why? Why is it less valuable, you know, just because it's
Did you see that?
promise ring.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
was that?
No,
Nothing.
none.
What?
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. No, for real. I get when you're talking about the whole traumatizing and stuff. I am super traumatized because I didn't grow up with my parents. They were divorced.
Mm.
And then I basically wasn't, well, I separated from my ex fiance, and that felt like a divorce. So now, being in this great relationship that I'm in now, I'm like,
Yeah, you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right?
yeah. Like, even though I know, like, you know, eventually, yeah, I would want to be with you forever and build this and yada, yada, yada. I'm
Yeah,
just,
but you
like,
actually
scared.
got there. For me, I don't even want to be there.
Oh.
Like basically like let's say I'll go on a date with somebody, right? And it goes well, but there's not really anything that kind of like sparks. But sometimes it takes a couple dates,
Right.
right?
You have to build.
Like it's almost like at that point I'm like, is it even worth it?
Well,
Is-
because
is
you
it-
already went there, though.
Is it no like I'm saying like to officially say boyfriend girlfriend kind of thing.
Do you think you're ever going to be able to get there?
I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
Yikes.
I don't know. Well, sometimes,
Right now, if the ideal woman walked in your life right now, do you think you would retreat to self, like if you just had to guess, retreat to self-sabotage or be open to
no,
it?
because if it's the right woman, you actually feel it. There's that spark.
Yeah.
But sometimes you know how they say like sparks might not necessarily happen on the first date. It can happen on the second,
Right.
or third, whatever. Like for me, sometimes I'm just like, fuck. Like, do I even want to go on a second one? Is it even worth my time?
That's what I mean. Do you think you're going to be able to get over that?
I mean, I mean, I'm saying I probably would have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not saying.
But part of me feels like it sounds like you just don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Like, you don't care to get to that point. Like, you
Do
just
you
like
care or do you just scared? You're just scared. Which one is more?
I just think that there's
We all have him on the hot seat. He's like, damn, guys, fuck.
no that's
you didn't
that's
fucking
an,
talk, so here you go.
that's an interesting question though, because it's like sometimes it's your fears are disguised as your wants,
Right.
like or just your stopping point,
Right.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, it would really just like take one of those where it's just like I really would have to be like saying, I really would have to get up and say, well, let's give this a try. So if it happens, it happens. If you crash, you crash. If you burn, you burn.
When I say like you don't care, I don't mean like you don't care. I just feel like you're just so content with and happy with where you're at. You just don't want to go searching for, or like not even search, but if it's right in front of you, you're just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so we know he openly admits like he's not in the stage of his life where he's even caring to need or want that.
Well, I have a new like kind of like a new motto that
Go ahead.
I'm low key like using, or me and this girl that are having conversations, we're using this as like our mood. It's like I'm not
That's how it
down.
starts.
I think it's so cute. No, I just go ahead. Go
No,
ahead. I'm
it's-
sorry.
Like we always say, like I don't tell her, oh yeah, I want to be with you or blah blah blah. But we have this whole attitude like I'm not down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 So confusing. But yeah,
But like
it's such a gray area.
yeah, so are you in the time of your life where you're open to it might become
An
more than
idea?
a not down, you know? Or are you more like, I'm not looking for that. I'm okay with this just being I'm not down.
I don't care.
Okay. so
That's
you're
why I'm
so-
saying I'm not down.
Yeah. But that person has to be fucking special for me to change my schedule too. I mean, because I think about it now, and I don't know if Vince thinks the same. Like he, if he was with somebody, he's not streaming till 6 a.m.
Yeah.
No, you're
But
not.
see,
You're,
No.
you're not. Yeah.
my situation is very convenient.
So that's
No,
what I mean.
but
Are
I'm
you
saying like
more
if you're
satisfied-
officially with somebody,
Are you
not
more
the gray area.
satisfied doing what you want to do, or would you, if you found the right
Okay,
girl?
so here's where it kind of like, so here's where it kind of gets selfish, right? Because you want it, you almost want
want
to
all of it.
No, you want it out of convenience, And that's basically a lot like me, because I'm into so many things. Like, like at one point I'm dealing with the podcast, and I'm dealing with my YouTube channel. Then I'm dealing with this, and I'm dealing with like trying to learn how to DJ. It's almost like when I want to hang out with somebody, that's when we'll hang out. It's never
On your
like
terms.
On your terms.
it's basically on my terms, which is very selfish.
So what would you be open to a fuck buddy right now? Just that. Just
In
that.
the alley.
You can choose the
Because
alley.
you know how you're more like emotional. What if you
Emotion? Yeah.
not
Yeah,
emotional,
yeah.
but you
Yes.
value relationships,
Yes.
not emotional. Yeah. They mean
I'm
something
emotional.
too, you know. So what if, since you're like, I don't really know if I'm ready for that, but I also like the thought of convenience. So what if there was a girl that came up to you and was like, I'm down to just strictly fuck? Would you be able to not be kind of like be a dick enough to accept that?
I don't know, because we discussed this, right? With the whole like friends with benefits.
I was just
thing.
gonna say that.
Yeah, because
It never
Look,
works. Oh yeah.
it never works. Well, the thing is too is like, it's the same reason as like, okay, you're gonna get with a girl, then you guys are gonna do it anytime you guys have like any type of physical touch. The longer the longer and the more often you guys have physical touch,
start
you
looking
develop
for that,
you
yeah.
develop feelings, and eventually that becomes more or less like, okay.
He's not answering the question. He's not ready to say yes
Yeah,
or
no,
no. yet.
Well, no, okay.
No. I'm getting to it.
I'm just fucking
I'm kidding. Look, so at the end of the day, it's like now it's like, oh, we haven't seen each other in a couple of days. We can hang out. Then I'm like, fuck, today's stuff. We're filming a podcast today. So or even like the podcast, because it's so important. Nothing gets scheduled there, right? But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
me streaming or doing whatever,
That can be moved around.
that can be moved around. But then,
Do I want to?
do I want to?
So do you want to?
Okay, look, let's go back. Let's make a bunch of like montage clips of anytime we ask a straight up answer to Kuya, he never gives a straight up
never
answer.
goes-
Wait,
Yes,
I
no,
want to try. I want to try.
No,
But
Here, I'll answer it fully. They have to be somebody really special.
But that's what I mean. What if it wasn't a special girl? She just wanted to fuck you. Like 3 times. That was her contract.
In the
Contract?
alley.
In
the cabin.
Would you be
Hey.
down?
Hey,
I'm
He's
not down.
Exactly. He's not
I mean,
down. What about you?
If that's the case,
And she wants to take you to Garth Brooks.
yeah.
oh, we are. No, I mean, the thing
Go
is,
watch the Niner game.
no, the thing is, like, you guys make it so like, if it's really that black and white,
Right.
where it's really just like,
She ain't gonna. She's that girl. She's that girl.
I don't know, we get it on. Like,
Okay.
I'll show up there before the stream. I'll come home and then stream.
She's a 10, but she wants to get married.
Oh damn!
No, I mean, it's like,
My soul just left my body.
yeah, that's like a question for Vince. She's a 10, but she wants a
What
wedding.
number is she?
I
I
have-
want to know. What number is she?
I have to put in several minutes of thought into this.
Okay, she's a 10, but she wants to get married.
Well, if she's,
Well,
a 10, then
10.
I'll marry her. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Got Clout. No, just kidding.
I was like, what?
What?
Look, she's a 10. Like, if she's a 10, I'm marrying her. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, so that's your answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you would marry?
Well, yeah, if she's a 10, she's a 10 in my mind, then we're done. I found my 10. What? I mean, if you say she's a 7.5, then we're like,
Okay. What if she's a 7.5?
well, we think about it. I mean,
it's the honesty
one of
for me.
It's one of those like she's a 10, but she only eats chicken at Korean barbecue.
yeah, but that's so. I hate those things because like if you find somebody that's actual fucking 10, then her eating only chicken at Korean barbecue makes her a fucking 9.
If it's a 10, I'm not marrying her, even in my dreams, because I know that bitch ain't real. So I must be dreaming. Ain't no such thing as a 10. A 9, I'll marry her.
Have you guys ever seen a 10?
Seen or
Experienced, been with?
No, because
No,
I'm still
10.
single. If I found that 10 somewhere,
If I found a 10, I'd let her come in me.
yeah. Well, as Vince says, like he'll think that she's not,
I don't know why I processed
she's
that
not, she's not real.
think of a syringe and her sticking that shit in your ass. That's how I I can think of her coming in you.
She's all like, she's putting her egg in me so I get fucking pregnant.
The visual. I'm gonna clip that and be looking like, what the fuck are they talking
So
about?
slow.
Well, like,
okay.
whenever you say shit like that, I'm like thinking endoscopy. I'm like thinking medical terms. I'm thinking like, yeah, you're getting your prostate checked. You're getting like things flushed. You get a 14 French ET tube in under.
We're
Yeah,
over
if-
here like,
Remember
dicks
what
and
I said?
balls. He's like, endoscopy.
Remember what I said. If a girl got her credit straight, if she's fit, she's beautiful, she's respectful, she probably has a bigger dick than you too. Because she ain't real.
Yeah.
I was like, none of those.
Damn. I'm almost there.
I'm just,
I don't think I checked one of those. That's not fair.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah. So to answer the question, since you guys want me to fucking answer the question, if it was black and white, fuck buddies, slide into my DMs.
Hey.
If you're a 10, I probably already married you, but I'm single, so I've never met one.
I was like, wait, what?
What's the closest thing you've gotten to a 10 number wise? If you had to pick, have you ever gotten like a 7 or an
No,
8?
like a 6.
That's the closest you got.
Yeah. That's
about
and that's
you?
being very fucking generous too.
Dang. What
Damn.
about you?
Looks, I'd say I've had an 8.
Okay.
8 or
But
9.
a package, whole package.
Or 8. Whole package, 5.
Yeah.
Dang, that's low
A hot crazy
What about
scale.
you?
for guys.
Yeah.
Well, is act right a 10?
Clip that. Sorry,
I love him, but
Akre.
he is not a 10. And I'm not a 10 either, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not. I can say that. What was the question again? What was the question?
Have you ever met?
Oh,
a 10?
have I ever met a 10? No.
Yeah.
I don't think we have.
What's the closest number?
Of like everything all together, probably like 6. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a 6. If it's like the whole package.
Yeah.
If we're talking looks, then I've definitely had like 8s, 9s. You know, like.
Yeah.
But if it's a whole package, probably like a 6 for sure.
It's kind of crazy how like how personality just
Kind of like brings it all
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
just knocks you out.
What about you, Lonnie?
Yeah. What about you?
No. 7.
Looks wise.
Oh, are we breaking it down to that?
No, like, well, we kind of we did at the end with everybody. So
Looks wise, to me, Jason's a 10 for sure. But other things,
yeah,
He's an 11.
7. Yeah,
it's like a 7. But he's
6, 7. Yeah,
He's been
same.
working on it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but I know, like you said, I'm not there either.
Right.
Because lately, I can be a bitch too.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, damn.
You're very pregnant too.
I am proudly in my vagina.
In her vagina.
Oh God, I
That was
choked myself.
That was a good episode. I like that.
That was
I
really
like
good.
how it like brought out like other things, you know, that we talked about. So that was cool.
Or he's going to inject me.
With the syringe.
Yep.
Right now.
Endoscopy. All right, you guys.
Nice. We're back on our
Cheers. I know.
jam.
Cheers. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I literally forgot what I was saying mid-sentence.
I think you were going to, I think you started buffering.
Yeah, I
And then
did.
you're like, thank
Wait.
you so much.
That did not happen. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Follow us on all of our handles. It will be down in the description bar. Remember to, I'm like really rusty right now at this. Remember to order your Mikey's meals, and we'll see you on the next one.
And
All
use the
right.
code the Babes 10.
Yes, the Babes 10. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
That was fun.
Bye.